This report comes from Monte Poole of NBC Sports. The Warriors are looking to add size and shooting. Why wouldn't they be? Okay. Because last night, I know they have injuries to a couple of the young guys, but last night, they were just refusing to play JaMychal Green. They were refusing to play some of the guys that they brought in. Like, they love playing Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb. Why? Because those guys fit their system. And it's rare that Steve Kerr comments on any form of roster deficiency that the Golden State Warriors may have, even in down seasons that were filled with injuries. Kerr generally remained upbeat. However, this season, while the Warriors defend their title, Kerr admitted this team could use some front court help. Quote, I'm really proud of them, that whole group, but of Kevon Looney and Draymond in particular, given the circumstances. What they've done for us the last couple weeks, keeping us afloat, has been really impressive. But yes, it would be nice to give them a little rest. The Warriors have been reportedly active in the trade market, which is somewhat of a rarity for them. The Golden State Warriors prefer to stay away from in-season trades. The defending champions are looking to add more size up front and more shooting on their roster. Nerlens Noel and Al Burks is a package that is out there. All right? If you've been following around, the Pistons have made Al Burks and Nerlens Noel available. Nerlens like $10 million. I believe Al Burks is also somewhere around there as well. It's not going to be a cheap deal to bring them in. But the thought process here is if you bring in Nerlens Noel, it's a backup center who can start also for you, and you get a shooter in Al Burks. Al Burks is making 9.2. Nerlens Noel is making 9.2, and Al Burks is making 10. So right there, you need $19.2 million to do this trade. I don't know if that's possible. And the big, maybe they sign a big, but I don't see that being an option. I think Al Burks is their more realistic option that they can find on the market right now. I mean, Will Barton's going to get bought out if he does not get traded. So if they wait for Will Barton to get bought out and whoever else. But again, if you look at the Golden State Warriors, they need 19 to get themselves a guy like Nerlens Noel and Al Burks, who we can all agree would be seamless fits for this roster. To do that, they would have to trade. It's just not happening because the deal that they would have to do is basically James Wiseman and Kevon Looney. That's not happening. There's no deal for that to happen. That's the best deal in a bottle. If you're like, Sierra, what would be the best deal for the Warriors? Nerlens Noel and Al Burks, but it can't happen. Literally, if they wanted to trade James Wiseman, you have to choose between Al Burks or Nerlens Noel. I would choose Al Burks because I would go out into free agency and sign somebody. Now, if we go over to free agency, who could they bring in? I mean, Miles Bridges is going to serve a suspension, but there's still a Marcus Aldridge. He doesn't move like he once did, but he can still be a catch-and-shoot shooter and still knock down the mid-range. He shot 55% from the field and 31% almost from three. Eric Bledsoe's tearing it up in China. Carmelo, look, he's a guy who can shoot the ball better than he ever has from three, but he's not giving you any defense. So I don't know if Carmelo is somebody they would be really into, and if they were, they probably would have already signed him. Boogie, I mean, he's working out for the Lakers. If you make a trade for an actual shooter, and that's what I'm saying, like, who can you trade for an actual shooter where you're up against the cap? Who are you going to trade? Because all your players, I think, are somewhat valuable. Maybe you trade JaMychal Green, I understand that. But for me, it's like, let's trade for a shooter that signed DeMarcus Cousins because he's played for you before. And I know he doesn't give you a defense, but he'll let you guys get a break right there. There's also Hassan Whiteside outside there. And even Tristan Thompson, who I think the centers, you can find one in free agency. I don't think you need to go out and trade for one. The shooter, I think you need to trade for one. The shooters in free agency are nowhere near as good as the shooters available. Again, Will Barton, if you can sign Will Barton, if he gets bought out in a month, and then sign someone like we said, DeMarcus Cousins, Sam Whiteside, Tristan Thompson, as your fourth center, technically third center, while James Wiseman's out, it's not a bad idea. Seriously, it's not bad. This would definitely where I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. What would you do if you were the Golden State Warriors?